Please welcome to the webinar which Vartana is hosting today. So without much delay, let us start the webinar and look what is in store for us today. My name is Vishala. I am the program manager in academic solutions at Vartana. I have the privilege of taking you through the webinar today. So let us see what is in store for us. Let's go briefly through the agenda for the day. Today's webinar consists of introduction and session objectives, a brief introduction and insight into the session objectives, effective time management and problem solving techniques, strategies to improve teaching effectiveness in your schools, and last but not the least, questions and feedback, where we can answer all your questions that you have about the webinar, about the topic. So let us move on and understand today's objectives. The first objective will help you to better manage time and solve problems to teaching effectiveness in your schools. After this webinar, you'll also be able to use different strategies to improve teaching effectiveness in your schools. So there are two major objectives to this webinar, and we'll go one after the other. Before doing this, I'll be casting another poll just to understand a few things. What, according to you, are the different roles and responsibilities of school leaders? So you have the options on your screen. Please choose the options. You can choose as many options as you want. Here, when we mean school leaders, in some schools, the principals are also the school leaders. So you can choose your options likewise. So we will be ending the poll in a few seconds. I also would like to reiterate, I'm sure a lot of you have attended our webinars before, but just for today's sake, I'll repeat some of the expectations that we have from the participants. Please be participative. Use the polls as a medium to give your opinion. Also, there will be some discussion questions where we will ask some questions and you can give us your opinions. You can either raise your hand, so we will unmute you and you can talk on the microphone, or you can even use the Q&A section to put forth your opinions. Please be participative and all your questions will be answered in the end. However, if you have any questions that you want to get answers immediately, you can put it in the Q&A section. We'll answer that for you. So, publishing the result of the poll. A lot of people, at least 93% of them say day-to-day operations. However, most of them have chosen all the options here very rightly. A school leader has to handle different roles and responsibilities. Let us see what are those. He or she is an academic counselor. He or she has to oversee staff development. They have to manage everyday school operations, like most of you have given your opinion. They have to research new teaching technology because they want their school to be on the top and their students to do well. They also have to conduct interviews and recruit the right kind of teaching and non-teaching staff for the school, organize school events, understand parent needs and address them. They have to act as a communication and PR person. They have to do a continuous monitoring and evaluation in the school. They have to attend conferences on behalf of the school. They have to ensure learning outcomes are as per their goals and vision. They have to handle day-to-day emergencies, ensure a safe environment for all the stakeholders in the school. They have to set vision and goals for the school, train and coach their staff. And last but not the least, they have to be the leader who can inspire and influence all the staff members in the school. Not just the staff members, but the students also. They have to be the role model. So these are all the different roles and responsibilities that, as we know, a school leader has to take care of. Now, just how it looks on this page, their roles and responsibilities also look similar in their day to day school life. So how does this hamper or enhance their productivity? Let us see what kind of skills that are required for a school leader to carry out all these roles and responsibilities. This is a question for you, audience. What, according to you, are some of the skills required by the school leader to carry out all these different kinds of roles and responsibilities? You can either put your opinion on the Q&A, or you can even raise your hand. We will unmute you so you can answer it on the microphone. Do we have any active participants today who can, quickly type their opinions on Q&A or raise their hand? Okay, Naveen sir has raised his hand. Sir, I'm unmuting. I'm allowing you to talk. You can talk over the microphone, sir. Also, let us know from which school and which city you're coming from. Naveen sir, I can see your hand raised. Do we have any responses on the Q&A? Yeah, Shobana ma'am is saying need all subject experts. Now, all the school leader has to have subject knowledge. They have to be able to continuously upgrade themselves. They should have good communication skills. Deepa ma'am is saying good communication skills. Dr. Saurabh is saying, I think he's still typing. They need all kinds of subject expertise. Abhishek is saying organization skills are required. Yes, totally agree with all these responses. There are a lot of skills that a school leader needs. Let us see for our topic that we are handling today, and the specific skills that the school leader requires to carry out not just these roles and responsibilities, but also to increase the teaching effectiveness in schools. The first and foremost is planning and organizing. Like we saw, there are a lot of roles and responsibilities. And unless the school leader plans and organizes them, it will be very difficult to carry out them. Time management. Again, this time management is of very crucial importance, because if things are not carried out on time, it will be very difficult. Again, there are unseen problems and challenges in the school on a day-to-day basis, and problem solving skill is a very important skill for the school leader. Coaching and mentoring. You would want your staff, your teaching staff and non-teaching staff, to develop themselves so that they can deliver more. So coaching and mentoring is a very important skill for the school leader. Also, with all of this, monitoring the progress is also a very important skill, because if things are not moving the way they are supposed to be, or the way you have envisioned them to, then all of this is of no importance if you're not monitoring the progress and making things proper at the right time. So these are some of the skills required by a school leader. to carry out these roles and responsibilities. Let us understand why time management, because we have spoken about time management and problem solving skill in our first objective. Here, let us understand why time management is also important. Time management is important because an effective time management can lead to faster achievement of goals in a more efficient way. This gives the school leader a lot of time to think of innovative ideas and implement in their school so that student achievements can get better and better. So if you effectively have time management strategies, all this can happen in your school. Now let us see what data is also saying. 59% of the school leaders have expressed that managing time is the biggest challenge for them. Why? Because every 8 minutes, there is an interruption. According to data, every 8 minutes on average, I'm not saying every time the school leader is working on something, after every 8 minutes, there is an interruption, not like that. Usually, on average, every 8 minutes, the school leader has to encounter one interruption and attend to it. So, time management is very crucial, and it is a finite source. Time is a finite source because you have only these many working hours in a day, and within the day, you have to fit all these responsibilities and attend to them. That is why time management is important. Now let us see what kind of strategies we can use to effectively manage the time. The first and foremost is be planned and prioritize your tasks. On the offset, it can look very simple, but let me tell you, until and unless you have a checklist to do, you will never be able to finish all the tasks. So even if it is the smallest of the tasks that you have to complete, just put it on that to-do list. That will be there on your agenda and you will not miss it. And also you have to prioritize them, which is more important or urgent, like that, so that you will give more time to those things than the other things. Then be focused and manage distractions. What do we mean by this? It doesn't mean that you have to sit in one room, lock yourself up, and do the tasks until it gets finished. No, it's not that. When we say be focused and manage distractions, it's just that when you have so many things to do, just don't try to do different things simultaneously. That will divide your attention and your focus will be also divided. So try to focus on one thing that has to be completed as much as possible. I know it is very difficult, but as much as possible, try to focus on one thing and completely finish it before moving on to the next one. Be structured and track your time. Like we discussed, time is a finite resource, so use it very efficiently and optimally. And see that you finish the task within the time that you have allocated to it. Last but not the least, and most importantly, start delegating your work, or learn to delegate work. It is very difficult to trust someone else and give your work to them, but slowly and steadily you can build a team of leaders in your school who can take up these work on your behalf. Let us see how to what kind of tools can help you implement these strategies, because just having strategies will not help you do it unless you have a proper tool which can help you do it efficiently. So this is called an Eisenhower matrix. This tool can help you to make improved decisions. It will help you to better manage your time and increase your productivity also, because you have sliced all your work, given it some time, and you will be starting to do it according to the time given. Here we are considering two variables. One is the urgency of the task and the importance of the task. So these are the two variables we are considering. Let us see what the first quadrant has to say. In the first quadrant, we have placed urgent and important tasks, which means do it now or do it at the same time that you have specified in the matrix. So what kind of things might come here? It could be some emergency that you have to immediately attend to. So this quartile or this amount of time you set aside and leave it blank, so that we like we discussed earlier, there can be emergencies in the school or something urgent may come up. So you can leave this quadrant to fill up those tasks on a day-to-day basis. That is, this morning you come, you leave it empty, and as and when the tasks come, you have to keep noting it down and give it a time frame. For example, there is some electrical problem in the school. You can't ignore it. You have to attend to it immediately. Otherwise, there will be some catastrophe or a mishap, because there are so many people in the school. You can't let it go, or you can't ignore it. So that becomes your urgent or important task. The next quadrant has not urgent but important task. What kind of tasks could come here, and what can you do? So since it is not urgent, you can schedule it for a later time or later date, depending upon the importance, or the you would have prioritized your tasks, right? So depending on that, you can give the timeline. Okay, within tomorrow I have to finish this work, or within 3 days I have to finish this work. So all these kind of not urgent important tasks can go here. Then the third quadrant has urgent and not important tasks. These are something that you can give it to your next set of leaders in your school. Maybe you have identified some people who are very smart, who are very motivated, and as soon as they get an additional work, they are very happy to take it up and do it efficiently. So you can delegate some of the work to these people where it is very urgent. For example, a block development officer is coming to visit your school, and he has come there to audit the school. Now you have some emergency that is already going on in the school, which you have to personally take care. So those things can be delegated to some of your teacher leaders, who can instruct the other teachers and students what to keep ready, how to prepare themselves for this kind of audit in the school. So these things can come under delegate. And the third quadrant, what do we have in the fourth quadrant? Fourth quadrant neither has urgent things nor important things, but these are things that definitely comes to your plate. Something like um, in future you want to do some kind of activity in the school, or you want to do some event in the school so that your school can be showcased. This is not very urgent and not important at this moment. So either you can permanently delete it, or you can revisit after a month to see if some of these items can be shifted to your current calendar. So these are the four quadrants. So in your to-do list, whatever tasks are there, you can distribute among these quadrants, give it a timeline, and if it is a task which can be delegated, also mention the name of the person, so that you can follow up with that person regularly to see if there is progress in that work. So this is how you can use the tool to be planned and organized, and also manage the time. Now, what is the advantage by delegating your task? Like I said, it will develop talent and capacities of leaders in line, and it can also motivate them because you trust them and you have given some work to them. It will also increase their motivation levels. So this is how you can manage time. Any questions so far, or has this been clear to everyone? We have seen what are the different strategies we need to manage time, and a tool to manage time, and how to use it in your day-to-day organizing, planning and organizing. Any questions so far, or can we move? No questions. So I think we can move. I think time management skill we have seen. Let's move to the next important skill, which is problem solving. Why do you think problem solving is necessary? This is a question to you, audience, my active audience. I need some responses. Why do you think problem solving is necessary in your school? So one teacher has asked how to manage discipline in the class. That's a question. We can revisit it later. I think there is one participant who doesn't want to mention their name. They are saying work can be done efficiently. Very true, very true. Work becomes smooth and efficient if problems are solved at the root itself. So we have all heard about this saying called stitching time saves nine. So when the problem is still at its nascent stage, when we solve it then and there, the problem will not become big and it will not consume our time and effort. Uh, it will also contribute to teaching and learning very efficiently, because other things should move on in the school. So that's why problem solving is necessary. Thank you, sir, for that answer. Moving on, let us understand why problem solving is necessary. Like we said, it is a critical skill for the school leader. And everybody in the school, whichever stakeholder, whoever is is part of that school, whatever problem they face, they always look up to the school leader or the principal to solve it for them. So it becomes a very crucial or important skill for the school leader. Otherwise, it becomes a barrier for teaching and learning, and it also hampers the student achievement in the school. And study also says that problem solving is the third most important skill for a school leader. In all the skills that a school leader should have, problem solving ranks third among them. So we understood why it is important. Let us understand how problems can be solved in a systematic way. So there are a few steps to solve a problem. The first one is to identify the problem. How can we identify a problem? We can identify problems that are in the school through surveys, because some problems do not come to your notice till it is very big. So understanding underlying problems or smaller problems becomes very important. So you can conduct surveys with different stakeholders like teachers, parents, or students. You can also look at data or student data, student achievement data, all of this. You can have stakeholder meetings, like how you have PTM meetings. You can also have stakeholder meetings. You can understand through those meetings. You can do observations, classroom observations, and you can have direct interaction. That is, keep your door open for whoever wants to come and approach you for their problems or the problems that they are able to see. That is how you can identify a problem. Then you have to define a goal on how you can solve it. Analyze all the responses that you get, prioritize the problems. Like just like how you prioritize your tasks, you can prioritize the problems also, which is more important, which is more urgent. You can prioritize the problems also. Choose one problem to solve one at one time, or give people to solve one problem at a time when you're delegating it. Define the desired solution to them. brainstorm. How can we solve it? Now we know what has to be solved, but how can we solve it? You can brainstorm different approaches to reach this solution. What are all the different materials required? What is the different kind? I mean, how much manpower is required? How much time it will take? All this you can brainstorm. Then you have to identify alternatives. Obviously, there are very few problems where it can be solved with only one approach, but most of the problems can be approached in different ways. So you have to come up with alternatives so that you can analyze which is more, cost effective, which is more time efficient. All of that you can identify. Then you have to choose which is most suitable for your situation, for your school, with the available resources. So this can be done at the fifth stage, and you should be, if you're delegating the task to your teacher leaders or your staff leaders, you should also tell them that you're there to support them. And last but not the least, tracking and evaluating. You should have checkpoints to this. You have to have a start point. You know when you want to reach the solution, and have checkpoints in between. Keep tracking it if the progress is as planned, or you have to do anything, or do you have to give any support, additional support, till the goal is reached. So these are the different steps to solve problem. These may seem similar to what you are doing, but every time we solve a problem, if we follow these steps, if you put it out on paper and write down the different steps, it becomes easy for you when you're tracking or when you're delegating it to someone else. So that is why these steps are important to follow. It's not that you have to follow it in the same order. You can skip a few steps also. Sometimes you don't have to have alternatives, or if there is only one way of approach, you don't have to use the choose and implement step. So in that way you can skip a few steps also. Let us see the same with an example, so you will be able to better understand. We will take a very small case here. So in this school, the school leader will notice, it comes to his notice that fifth grade students' math scores have been declining in that quarter. So this is the area of concern for the school leader, because fifth grade has a lot of foundational skills for the students, and it will hamper their board exams also in future if this is not addressed right then and there. So what does the school leader do? So the reduced math scores are in itself is not a problem, right? That is the outcome of an underlying problem. So you have to identify the problem. What does the school leader do? He or she will go, they will go sit in the teacher's class, fifth grade teacher's class, and observe how he or she is conducting the class, or how he or she is teaching the students. After that, they will also have a conversation or interaction with the teacher, and then the teacher will express to the school leader that she was not well versed in teaching abstract mathematical concepts, something like geometry or algebra. She was a little low on those skills. That is what comes out, and that is the problem that is being identified. Now, what goal can the school leader define for this problem? The goal will be to impart the necessary pedagogical or instructional skills to the teacher. The school leader can brainstorm himself, or he can sit with his teacher leaders. He or she can come up with the approach. The approach is to train the teacher within the specified time, because the teacher has to also teach the students and also take out some of her time in the school to learn this new skill. So there has to be some planning regards to this. Then are there alternatives to it? Yes. It could be, this training can be done by sending the teacher to attend some external workshops, or registering the teacher for some webinars, or the teacher can learn from her colleagues. These are the three different alternatives the school leader will and the teacher leaders will come up with. Now, how to choose and implement? What is the most effective and efficient way? So, since the school has two highly experienced math teachers, the fifth grade teacher can be trained by one of these senior teachers in the school itself. So, it is this alternative is most suitable for that school. So so they will decide on this, and then the only thing remaining is to track and evaluate till the fifth grade teacher has acquired all the necessary skills. How can this be done? What support can the school leader give for this? Probably a change in the teaching schedules of both the teachers, so that it can help each other to sit in each other's class and observe the experienced teacher how he or she is teaching, and get all that knowledge of the skills. For that the school leader can intervene and change the timetable for both the teachers, and remove any other barriers that is there for the fifth grade teachers learning. So this is how, through an example, we can understand uh, even problems can be these kind of problems can be solved in the school. The same thing can be applied for other problems that can or may come up in the school. And if you have to delegate, it will be easier for the other person to understand also, if these steps are defined. Any questions so far uh, with these two skills, time management and problem solving? I see a lot of them have responded for why problem solving is important. It is necessary because it can help you do work efficiently, to have a positive environment. The school leader should be a problem solver to avoid bigger issues. Yeah, sure, sir. We will be sharing all of this. Any questions uh, regarding these two skills that we have discussed so far, or can we move? Okay, I think we can move on. We are moving on to the second objective of the webinar, that is strategies for achieving teaching effectiveness. Let us first try to understand what is teaching effectiveness. A lot of people may have different ideas about teaching effectiveness, but it is nothing but the content knowledge, the instructional knowledge, or the methodologies or pedagogy that the teacher uses, and her or his or her behavior or attitude uh, towards teaching or towards helping the students in the classroom. All this put together can impact a student's learning, or it can even impact the student's academic career. What do we mean by academic career is the students, if their foundation is too very strong, like if they have learned from a very good teacher, their foundation will be very strong, and they can move up in the academic career, like they can go for higher studies confidently, or they will get into professional courses confidently. So it is very important for the teacher to be very effective while she is teaching. Not just in academics, but the teacher will also be important in imparting life skills, soft skills for the students. Soft skills like communication, etc., and life skills like honesty, hardworking. All of these life skills can also be imparted by the teacher. So unless the teacher's content knowledge, pedagogical skills, and behavior and attitude are very strong, this kind of student outcome will be difficult. Uh, so to make it more efficient, the teacher has to be effective with her teaching. Now I have a poll to all of you. I'll be sharing a poll. what strategies have you tried in your school to increase teaching effectiveness? Yeah, the top answer is conducting workshops. I'm publishing the result. Thank you everyone for voting. Although there are 42 people, we have received only 21 votes. I really appreciate this, but urge you all to be more participative. Yes. Let us see what are the different strategies we can use to achieve teaching effectiveness apart from the options chosen by you. Most of them have also chosen others, like 4 people have chosen others. Those who have chosen others as an option, can you please type out what kind of strategies you have used in the Q&A section? 4 people who have chosen others as an option. Can you please type your answers there in the Q&A section? What other than the ones mentioned have you adopted in your school? I have not received any answers so far. So I will be moving on. Let us see what kind of strategies we can use. I'm just seeing if anyone wants to speak. There is no hand raised, so I'll move on with the session. Let us look at the different strategies we can use in our schools to achieve teaching effectiveness. One of the strategies is you can do classroom observation and understand the teacher needs, how he or she can improve teaching. Then feedback and reflection based on your classroom observation. Then setting SMART goals, understanding the skill and will level of your teachers, inculcating 21st century teaching methodologies, setting up peer learning network in your school, promoting growth mindset as a culture in your school overall, and modeling the best class or the best teaching methodologies. So these are some of the strategies to achieve teaching effectiveness. However, in this webinar, what we will be doing is we will be going in depth with classroom observation, feedback and reflection, and a little bit of skill and will, which can help you understand the learning needs of your teachers. So this will be dealt with a little bit more than the other strategies, just to give you a heads up. So moving on, what is a effective classroom observation? Classroom observation is nothing but where you sit in a teacher's class to observe and systematically note down all the teacher actions, teacher behavior, methodologies that have been used and everything, which can help you to understand at what level the teacher is at. So this is nothing but a quantitative measure of the teacher's proficiency. Why this has to be done? This classroom observation can give you a lot of insights. This will help you to improve student outcomes by giving that teacher required training or upskilling or any kind of other workshops or anything that is required. This will improve the instructional prowess of the teacher. How can this be done? You can't just observe everything and go ahead, right? Even to observe, you need something. You need some rubric, you need some tool. So how this can be done? This can be done using checklist or charts. This can also be used, this can also be done using a rating scale or narrative descriptions of the teacher's performance in the class. So I will take you through some of the tools which can be used for your classroom observation. Before that, I will also take you through the different steps or guidelines how you can do the classroom observation. So always be on time for your observations. I would say you have to schedule it in advance and be at the correct time so that you don't disturb the class before it starts. Give some time, settling time for your new teachers, or if it is the beginning of the school year, give some time for the teachers and the students to settle down, because they are new to each other and they have to get used to each other, the way of teaching, the way of approaching students. This has to be given some time for the teachers. So wait for a few weeks before you start the classroom observation. Also schedule these kind of classroom observations in advance. You can even ask the teacher who you're going to observe in advance what particularly you want her to observe. She can show her his or her lesson plan and ask you, okay, this is something new that I'm trying. Can you please observe and tell me if I'm doing it in the right way and is it impactful for learning? Please observe it. So if you have had a discussion earlier, you can particularly observe that also in your classroom observation. Carry necessary items with you. The first one is the classroom observation tool, which I will be sharing with you in some time. Then notepad, pen, etc. Because once you settle down in the classroom, you don't want to keep walking in and out or disturb or ask from others for all these things, which will disturb the flow of the class. Be objective when you're taking down the points of observation. You have to be very, very objective. You can't bring in your own assumptions or biases. Be very objective. Just note down the teacher actions and not what you feel about the action. That is very, very important. Be unobtrusive. Like I said, we can't disturb the class, right? We have to be prepared when we come for the classroom observation. And we have to sit in a place where you're not blocking the student's view, or you're not kind of being very, very conspicuous amongst the students. Like the students should not feel your presence there. And last but not the least, after the entire observation is done and before you leave the classroom, just give a small brief with an encouraging word to the teacher and tell her, we will fix up a time where I can give you a proper feedback about the classroom that I have observed today. So with that, your classroom observation ends. What are the different things that you can cover or you can focus during the classroom observation, or what are the different areas that your classroom observation tool will cover? One is the effective planning by the teacher, how the teacher has designed her lesson plan. What are all the different things that he or she has included in the lesson plan? Has she accounted for learning objectives? Is there a plan for independent and group practice? How or what methodology she's using to explain the lesson? What kind of evaluation she's using? All of this can come in her lesson planning. The next is the teaching techniques, which I said, what kind of methodologies the teacher will be using, or is she using the same methodology that she has put down in the lesson plan, and is it being effective? This is another focus area. Last but not the least, or very important thing, is student and teacher relationships. This should actually come in the beginning, because once the relationship is a cordial one, once the relationship is a trusted relationship between the teacher and students, the other things can fall in place. So how or what kind of relationship the teacher has with the students can come out in her classroom. So you can note down all those things as well. The last point I want to cover here is in steps for classroom observation, have a minimum of 3 to 5 observations per year for your teachers. This will give a proper cycle for them to take back, work on them, and improve before the next classroom observation. So this is recommended. However, if he or she, the teacher is a new teacher and they require more classroom observations, then you can add more. These are the steps for your classroom observation. And what are the tools that you can use as an observer in the classroom? For today's session, we will be widely discussing two tools here. One is the checklist or the chart. It is a very comprehensive tool and will have different layers to every item on the checklist. And it will give you a proper insight into how the teacher is practicing in the classroom and what can be done later. After analyzing these inputs, you can see what can be done so that the teacher can improve. The next one is before moving on to the next tool, I will just take you through the checklist. Here, so this is the classroom observation tool checklist. Here, as you can see, it is divided into 3 focus areas. One is the teacher and student interaction. Here in the top, you can even mention what day of observation, what grade you are observing, subject, name of the teacher, who is observing, all of that you can mention, and then start the observation and start marking all of these different items. Here we have major focus areas for teacher-student interaction, teaching learning methodology, the different assessment techniques that the teacher is using in the class. So let me explain in the first row of this observation tool, the teacher-student interaction. Under that, the teacher is addressing students by the name. That is, the teacher is familiar with the students and she knows about them very well. That is why she is addressing them by the name. So you also have space to put your comments for first observation, second observation, and third observation. If you want to increase, you can put more columns there so that you will have a proper at the end of the year, you will know how the teacher has progressed for each of the items here on the observation checklist. When do you mark? So there are different categorizations here where when do you mark it as a yes? When do you mark as yes but ineffective? No, the teacher did not use this strategy, or this strategy is not applicable. So if you have to mark addressing students by name, if you want to mark this strategy as yes, then you should make sure the teacher is able to address most of the students by their name. If you're marking it, if the teacher is unable to address all the students by name, she is only able to remember some students, then you can mark that strategy as yes but ineffective. When the teacher is unable to remember any student's name, then you have to mark it as a no. And if it is not relevant for that class, probably it is a different teacher who has come to fill in for the regular teacher, then this does not apply there. Or if it is something like a craft class or a teacher who doesn't usually visit this class, this will become not applicable. So this is how you can fill for this particular teacher for all the strategies that she is using in the class. This is a checklist chart. Let's go back and see what other tools we have and discuss about it. So we have a rubric also. Rubric is another kind of observation tool which has a rating scale which can be rated using a scale of 1 to 5. I'll take you through this also. So here also, as usual, you fill up the different information, the date of observation, grade, subject, name of teacher and observer, and then start your observation. Here also we have different focus areas, but every strategy is rated on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being least mastery, 5 being excellent. The teacher is excellent in that strategy. So here also we have different strategies for the teacher, which she will be using in the class, and you can rate the teacher. And finally, you can take an average of all these things, and you can even give the rating to the teacher, or you can even design the developmental trainings or workshops required for the teacher based on these ratings. Any questions so far regarding classroom observation? Let me see if there are any questions. Also, I will be sharing all these tools on a PDF with all the participants if you wish to receive them. Soumya ma'am, are you able to hear me? Soumya ma'am, if you can just leave the webinar and join again, probably there is some technical issue with your microphone, with your speakers.
Shala, she said that she already answered. She is able to hear you now.
Okay, thank you. So let's go back to the session and moving ahead with the next strategy, which is feedback and reflection. Now that we understood why classroom observation is important, how it can be done, and what tools we can use to observe the classroom, the next important part is to give the feedback based on the classroom observation. That way we can complete the loop. Also, need not necessary that a school leader only has to do the classroom observation. You can have your teacher leaders, or you can even pair up the peers so they can give do the classroom observation for each other. So that's one tip I would like to give for classroom observation strategy. Now coming to feedback and reflection, what is feedback and reflection? Now you have gathered all the information from the classroom observation, or some walk-through observation, or through any way you might have understood about a teacher or her performance in the class. So now you have to give a feedback and motivate the teacher to do better, or if there are any areas of development, they can, this feedback can help them improve that. So always align effort and activity with an outcome. So whenever you're giving a feedback, you have to tell, this is the effort that I saw, and this is the outcome that we can expect. So if your effort can increase, then the outcome can increase. That is how you have to give the feedback. It should not include any other things apart from the academic performance or the classroom performance. Why is it important? This will help determine the teacher's training needs or developmental needs, and it will also help the school leader to plan the next steps, so that the goals which have been set, academic goals that have been set, can be met on time. How can this be done? This can be done through one-on-one discussions, meetings, or alternate improvement plans. Let us see in detail how feedback and reflection can be given. What are the tools that we can use? So there are different ways to give a feedback. The first one we are discussing today is the SBI model. Here S stands for situation. That is, you will outline the situation which you are referring to. So for a particular situation, you want to give a feedback. So first and foremost, you will tell that this is the situation for which I want to give you the feedback. So you are outlining that. B stands for behavior. In this situation, this is how you were actually doing it, or this is how you were trying to teach. This is the behavior that I saw. You discuss how the teacher actions were uh, in that situation. Then finally, you talk about the impact. That is, you will highlight in this situation, this was your behavior, but if you do it, however, you can increase and this is the impact. If you want to increase the impact, your behavior should be changed to this. So this is how you give the feedback. I know it's a little confusing, so I'll give it to you with an example. A small classroom example on which the school leader or the observer is giving to the teacher. The lesson provided many opportunities for questioning the students. So during observation, I saw that the lesson that you were handling had a lot of opportunities where you could ask questions, or students could ask questions. In the behavior part, however, I could see that not many students were involved in this exercise. Children who raised the hands got an opportunity to ask questions, others were left out. What is the impact on learning? So here it becomes difficult to know which of the students have understood the lesson and who have not understood. And by the time we understand, it will be too late. So what can we do? What is the future action? Let us ensure we include all students in these exercises. In fact, build this kind of assessment technique into the lesson plan itself. Can you see how I have used we instead of you? Because whenever we are giving feedback, it should give a sense of belongingness to the teacher. Not just he or she should not feel pointed out, but when you include, let us ensure we include all students, it means you will also follow the same pattern, and this gives some encouragement to the teacher. Quickly moving on to the next kind of feedback that we can give. This is called as the sandwich model. As the name suggests, it will have 3 layers. On the top layer, we will be giving positive comments about the observation or the class that we observed. Then you will give the feedback on the areas of development, and then you will close it with the encouraging words. This is why it is called as the sandwich model. Let us quickly look at an example. Appreciate. I liked how you encouraged questioning by the students during the explanation. But I see much scope in nudging students who are not forthcoming to also answer or question you during the class. Let us continue the good work and maybe plan together a set of questions for the next lesson. That would encourage every child in the class to answer. Can you see how we are encouraging by giving an invitation to the teacher so she can come sit with you, or you can go sit with her when she is planning for the lesson, and you will also help her come out with some of the questions or strategies. This is how you give a feedback with the sandwich model. So here I will show you some of the tools that I have prepared, which I will share with you. You can use it for your. So whenever you're giving feedback, have all the information that you want to give on this template. So this is SBI feedback. That is why you have situation, behavior, impact, and the actionable items that you want to suggest. So this tool, you put down everything that you want to give as feedback even before you meet the teacher. Go with this template, so it will be easy for you to give the feedback. And you have you already know how to give the feedback and what are the different things you want to talk. The same kind of tool I have prepared for sandwich model, appreciation, areas of improvement, and encouraging words. So you can prepare this before going to meet the teacher. So coming back to the session, we saw in depth how to do classroom observation and how to do feedback and reflection. Moving on, before I move on to other strategies, I want to tell that those strategies will not be dealt with in depth like this. So we will quickly move because time is also of importance. The third strategy we are talking about today are the SMART goals. So what is a SMART goal? Most of you will know that specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goals are called as SMART goals. Why is this important? It gives a direction to how we have to proceed in our classrooms, how we have to go about with the academic goals, so that we can have proper plan for that. How this can be done? You can co-create these goals with your teachers based on curricular and other parent or student expectations. For example, you will set a goal with your teachers saying all my teachers in the school will ensure that their students will speak in English fluently by the end of the year. This is a complete SMART goal because it is bound by time, it is specific, it is attainable, it is measurable, and it is relevant. So this is how you give SMART goals. Not necessarily that you give only academic goals. It could be co-curricular, extracurricular. All these goals can be given to the teacher. So there is a well-rounded development of the students. Now coming to the fourth strategy for teaching effectiveness, skill and will. What do we mean by skill and will? Skill is nothing but a set of competencies that the teacher or your non-teaching staff comes to your school with. What is will? Will is nothing but the willingness or motivation that the person exhibits. Why is it important for you to understand skill and will? Because it informs appropriate developmental needs or approaches that you have to give, or the kind of support that you have to give to the teachers or non-teaching staff, so that uh, the end goal is achieved. How can you understand the skill and will level of the staff? One is through one-on-one discussions, the other is through observations. It could be a detailed in the class observation or walk-through observations. I will also give you a small tool which will help you decide how to ascertain the skill and will of your staff. Here I'm using two variables again, the will and the skill. In the first quadrant, people who are highly willed and low on skill will go in the first quadrant. How do you identify? These people are highly motivated, but they lack certain skills. Usually they are freshers, fresh from the college or fresh from their professional course. This might be their first job. So they are highly motivated to do, but they don't have certain skills because of lack of experience. So what can you do? You can provide necessary coaching and training for these people. The second quadrant are high-willed and high-skilled people. Who are these people? They're highly motivated. They're your high performers in the school. They're consistently performing at a high level, and they're exemplar people for other staff in your school. So how can you keep up their motivation, or how can you leverage their skills? By providing some leadership opportunities. The third quadrant are people with low will and low skill. What are these kind of people? They are low on motivations and skills. Even these people maybe they are freshers also. So you can provide, how can you increase their willingness and skills? By giving them proper training and coaching. Also you can try them out in different roles. You will understand in which role they're doing better, which means they have more willingness to do those roles, and you can this is how you can increase their willingness, will and skill level. The fourth quadrant is the low will people with high skill. Why it happens? Though although they are high on their skill, why do you think their motivation is very low? These are people who have been doing the same kind of work over the years. They have hit a plateau. That means they have hit that uh, uh, place where nothing is motivating, or nothing new or challenging is coming their way. So what you can do, you can give them new challenges, you can give them additional responsibilities, and this way you can keep up their motivation level. So this is important for you to do it, do for all the staff in your school, so that you can assess what kind of training needs or what kind of motivation they require. And once you provide all these things to them, the entire staff will be at their highest efficiency, and you can reach your goals on time. So moving on to the next strategy, 21st century teaching skills. I cannot stress enough about this, because we all know that right now whatever we are teaching in the school may not be relevant in future. We have seen that happen in the last couple of years, how digital literacy, using technology in teaching learning, this has become so very important and central to our education. So what are these 21st century skills? These are nothing but problem solving, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, digital literacy, having, being able to adopt technology in teaching and learning. All these are 21st century learning and teaching skills. So when students are ready, we know that a 2-year-old can also handle a smartphone so easily. But are we ensuring the teachers are also at the same level? It becomes very, very important for the school leaders to impart these kind of teaching skills among the teachers, to keep up with the evolving needs of the students. Even NEP stresses upon problem solving and critical thinking as very, very necessary skills for students. So this is why this is important. How can we do? Again, you have different methodologies. You can do classroom observations. You can have a one-on-one discussion using the skill and will matrix. You can analyze the needs of a teacher, and you can have training and workshops for them. Moving on to the sixth strategy, which is peer learning network. We know that there are a lot of teachers in a school, and they are at a varying levels. So what you can do, you can put these teachers in groups. Either you can pair up the same uh, subject teachers together as a small group, or you can even for the same class or same level, or maybe there is a fresher teacher and there is an experienced teacher, you can pair them up, and you can do a network, a learning network between themselves. What you are supposed to do, those teachers will start doing with each other. Like they can learn and support each other, they can give feedback to each other, they can observe each other's classroom, and they become their own support group, need not come to you all the time. So this is another way of increasing the relationship or the bonding between teachers. And this is why it is important for to have a peer learning network in the school. How you can do this? Like I explained, you can create those peer groups, you can establish trust between them, give some goals. You can also set up some structures where if it is for classroom observation, how the teachers use the tool, how they can give feedback, all these structures you can give to them, and you can frequently review if they are doing all these things or not. So this is why it becomes important. The seventh strategy is about your culture, your environment, how every stakeholder performs in this environment, what drives their performance. It is the growth mindset. I can't stress more upon this. A lot of schools are even doing socio-emotional learning, growth mindset. This has become a very, very valuable topic in the schools and education in a bigger sense. What is growth mindset? When it comes to teaching and learning, or in your school itself, viewing difficult tasks as opportunities. If you are giving some task to the teacher, instead of looking at it as a difficulty, they will start accepting as a learning opportunity. They will start experimenting with different teaching methods. If this kind of culture is there, they will bring in new kinds of teaching learning methods, and they'll not hesitate to implement them in their class. So why is it important for the school to have a growth mindset? We all know that human minds are elastic. You can keep feeding it and it will keep learning it. So instead of teachers thinking that, okay, I've learned everything, this is the end, I will not go beyond, this is how my capability is. In a growth mindset environment, the teacher will keep will think that there is more to learn, there is more to explore, I can experiment more. So the ability to learn will increase. This ability, if the teacher is exhibiting, it will trickle down to the students also. Or the teacher will not think the student also has a minimum ability. The teacher will think the student also has the ability, and she'll push the student. How can this be brought in into your culture? If you value the process over the result. Suppose a teacher is adopting a new methodology, appreciate the process. The result may be good or bad, but appreciate the process. This will encourage him or her to bring in new methodology without any fear. Celebrate growth. Whenever teacher is successful, celebrate that growth. Or treating each other as an equal. There is no I'm superior, I'm inferior. It comes from the school leader themselves. Because if you exhibit a power position of power, then it will trickle down to the teachers, and teachers will from teachers it will trickle down to the students. So treating each one as equal in the school is very important to bring about growth mindset. Without any biases or without any judgment, look at people and situation. This is how you can bring in growth mindset. A small example to tell you about fixed minds difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset is, a teacher, when she's addressing a student, if she says it's okay, you are unable to solve any of these problems, you're having a lot of difficulty in solving this, maybe algebra is not your one of your strength. This is how a fixed mindset teacher will talk. Or if you have to say how a growth mindset teacher will talk, she will speak to the student as, when you learn a new problem, you will understand the different steps that you have to do, and this is how you will develop your math brain. So can you see the difference how a fixed mindset teacher or a growth mindset teacher will talk? So if you find these kind of things, you can immediately have some kind of interaction with the teacher to curb it then and there. The last strategy we will be discussing today is the modeling. Here, I say that principal or the school leader come principal in a school will be the idol for all their teachers in the school or for all their students. So what is modeling? You are, people look up to you as a model. So if you want a very effective teacher, you have to model some strategies or how you take the class to him or her, so that they can learn from you, and you can observe them later if they are applying those strategies or not. Why is it important? Like I said, they look up to you. They feel that you have arrived at that position because you have all the expertise that needs to be a best teacher. So if you are doing, if you take one class and show them this is how you have to do, they will quickly learn that skill. And please do not hesitate to bring in new methodologies, because if they see you doing new things, they will also start doing the same. Like they will not hesitate to bring in new methodologies into their classroom. So how, like we discussed, you can show a teacher how to implement new content that you're teaching. Maybe the teacher is teaching or the students are learning fractions for the first time and the teacher is finding difficulty. You can model this classroom for the teacher so that she will learn from the methodologies that you are teaching. So these are the 8 strategies that we chose to bring into this session, which can help increase the teaching effectiveness in your schools. Any questions about these? Any questions you have until now for all these strategies? Okay, I don't see any questions, so I assume it has been clear to you. So quickly summarizing, in today's objective, we had to cover time management and problem solving.
Vishala, there are a couple of hand raises and there were some questions that we sort of missed out in the past. So if you could, once you're done with the summary, if you could just go through them.
Sure, Sushri. So quickly to summarize today's webinar, we have gone through time management strategies to effectively manage time and strategies to solve problems. We have also looked at different strategies to achieve teaching effectiveness today. That were 8 strategies. So let me come back and see what questions we have today.
There's one question asking, is it necessary to give feedback in the classroom itself to the teacher, or can they schedule it later and not do it
They
in the
can
classroom?
schedule it later. Not necessary that you have to give it at the same time. You can also schedule it later. What is the difference between the two?
This is, I think, between rubrics and the other.
Rubric. So there is not much difference where in the checklist, it is yes or no. It is black and white, whether the teacher has done or not done. In a rubric, you have a rating scale, which gives, okay, to a fair extent, the teacher has been doing it. And a little more, fine tuning can help the teacher to go to 5. This is the only difference. Otherwise, it's similar. There is not much difference. Okay. Yeah. Pragya ma'am, like you said, they are both similar, not very different. It depends on what the school leader is comfortable with. So that's why we have provided both. You can use either of them in your observation. So I hope I've answered all the questions. Do we have any more questions? You can raise your hand. We can unmute you. Soumya Odugowder, ma'am, you have raised your hand. I will unmute you. You can answer. You can ask your question, ma'am. Soumya, ma'am, do you have any question?
Vishala, it's been answered.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So quickly moving back to the presentation, I would like to throw light on 2 programs that Varthana is currently offering. One is the Unlock School program, which is nothing but a remedial program that schools can use for grades 1 to 8. We all know that because of COVID, schools were closed for 2 years and learning loss has happened with students. So to cover this learning loss or to bridge this gap, Varthana has come out with an Unlock School program where we provide books from grade 1 to 8 for English and Math foundation. And this will have 3 years worth of learning objectives, so that if a grade 5 student will go through remedial classes from grade 3, 4 and 5 learning objectives, this will help to bridge the learning loss for the students. So this is one program. These are 2 books, one book for math and one book for English. If you wish to know more about this program, I'll give you the number and email ID. You can reach out to us. The other program is called as the Smart Fee program. This also came out because we saw the need during COVID school closures, where not many parents were paying fees, and schools faced a lot of problem with fee collection and mobilizing funds for school development. So here, this Smart Fee program can help the schools to address both these challenges. If you wish to know more about these programs, you can reach out to us on hello@varthana.com, or you can contact us on 08068455777. Our people will give you more info about these programs.